Day is here. A nuclear bomb has just unleashed hell right in front of your eyes. The land turns to ash and scatters in the wind in just moments. You have mere seconds to get to safety. But once that blast hits, how could the light burn your skin? Why should you never look at the explosion? And how can taking off your clothes save your life? This is What If, and here's what would happen if a nuke exploded near you. Once that missile launches, you can't escape what's coming next, but what are you facing? Well, 4 types of energy are about to be unleashed. First, a blast wave would rip through the landscape, knocking you around like a rag doll and destroying buildings. After that, brace yourself for intense light, followed by skin-melting heat and deadly radiation. Then, a hot bubble of gas will form a fireball that will vaporize everything inside it. All that dust debris will shoot up into the air, creating the iconic mushroom cloud. Even if you somehow survived this nightmare, why would your life never be the same again? So far, only one nation has used a nuclear bomb against its enemy. The first of the 2 bombs dropped on Japan by the United States during World War II, Little Boy, decimated Hiroshima. It had the strength of 15 kilotons of TNT. But that's nothing compared to what nuclear weapons are packing today. The most powerful is 80 times stronger than what hit Hiroshima. Now, while that would be devastating and level everything for miles, it wouldn't make our planet a nuclear wasteland. You, on the other hand, well, you wouldn't be so lucky. If you happened to be in the blast vicinity, your days would be numbered. Remember that intense bright light? Yeah, well, that flash is strong enough to burn your skin off. These intense flash burns can be fatal, and they killed 50% of the people who died in Japan. And here's hoping you didn't stare directly into that blast, because this devastating light would oversaturate your retinal pigments and leave you blind. Flash blindness can go away after 2 minutes if the explosion happens during the day, but at night, you could be blinded for much longer. And if you weren't sheltered, you may not survive what's coming next. In just a fraction of a second, the nuclear fireball would expand out like a balloon rising into the sky. The heat from that fireball would send out a blast wave that would rip you and the ground under you apart. If you didn't make it indoors before the blast, the supersonic wave might kill you by ripping off your skin or sending you flying through the air. Then, a violent burst of thermal radiation would be released and head right toward you. And unfortunately for you, it's only going to get worse. Next, a second pulse would hit, lasting a few seconds this time. This wave would carry 99% of the total thermal radiation from the nuke. You could be 8 kilometers away and still suffer first-degree burns from this detonation. And all that would happen in a matter of moments. Then, the resulting mushroom cloud would tower above everything. So, what would you do now? Well, even if you only suffered 3rd-degree burns, the pain would be enough to send your body into instant shock. Hospitals, if there were any left in the area, would be so overrun with other victims that you might not get treated for hours. Gamma and neutron radiation would cover everything the first minute after the blast. If you somehow lived through that blast wave and the fiery heat, this radiation might kill you. As the dust settles, the radioactive particles would penetrate everything, making the blast site hazardous for months, if not years. Radiation exposure could lead to brain seizures and cancer. It might even reduce the lymphocyte cells in your blood. That would increase your risk for infections. To avoid that lethal fallout, you'd have to run and hide. You'd have about 10 minutes before the radiation hits, so hustle and get to a concrete or brick building to shelter you for the next 24 hours. And you're gonna want to get naked. If you take off your radiated clothes, you could remove up to 90% of the radioactive material clinging to you, so save your modesty for another time. Now, since you've stripped down, wash yourself with soap and water to get rid of any remaining radioactive particles. Now, there probably wouldn't be any power left, but you'd have to keep the air conditioning and the fans off if there was. Otherwise, contaminated air from the outside could come in. Now, no matter how safe you are, you can never guarantee that nuclear annihilation is far away. After all, the United States and Russia own 90% of the world's nuclear weapons, so what would happen if Russia launched a nuke?
Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Quadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who we learn from. Shalom to the hopeful elect, preaching his word in truth and sincerity. And a healthy shalom to you sisters, to you ribs out there learning in silence and staying in order. Right, my name is Kwaniyan from the Diligent Soldiers Boston camp. Alright, so we just watched a video on, what could happen, what I'm saying, if you was that close to a nuclear blast, man. And if you are that close, like ground zero is probably your best bet. Actually, Lord willing, you of that number and you don't gotta go through it. That's the best bet. But if you wasn't, your second option would be, man, to be right in the middle of that blast, because surviving that would be, torture. I watched that movie Oppenheimer. It was a long movie. It was pretty good. It just shows how the Lord uses his whipping stick, which is Esau, to create, the second death, so to speak, in a physical form. Yahweh Shem Yahushua uses these nations to accomplish his goals, right? When he's going to put the hooks on, on these nations to make the moves, right? He needs these physical counterparts, these mortals to fulfill his will, right? Because he prophesied it, he spoke it, and it has to come to pass, right? So let's get a couple precepts on this, man, because it's gonna be a terrible day in that day, right? If you're not in the faith, if you're not, repenting and acknowledging the true power, which is Yahweh, is his name, right? And his son's name, Yahweh Shai. If you don't acknowledge those two names, then you're going to have a rude awakening in that day. And if you have heard these names and you just, you happen to be one of those people who just kept living life like, there's no cares, then you, my friend, better prepare for this. You better be naked on that day. You're going to be naked on that day. It's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22. I know a bunch of you guys know exactly where I want to go, but this is for the ones who don't, who might not know exactly. right? Because the brothers who follow GMS, you know, are very studious on these things, man. They're always praying and watching, as the scriptures have said, right? This is Ezekiel chapter 22 and verse 20. It says, "And they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin, and into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it. So I will gather you in mine anger, in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you." Right? A lot of times everybody's entangled into the affairs of this world, man, and not paying attention, man, and not watching, right? And because you're a busybody, the Lord's gonna put you in a place where you're in the midst of the fire, man. You don't even know it, right? Babylon the Great is an altar, and it has to be melted. In order to melt something, you need things to melt inside. So everything got to go. Verse 21, "Yeah, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof." See? This is like a little sun. You see, if you was to get within, a 2-mile radius of this blast, you'll be staring into a mini sun on Earth. And Esau can't take the heat. You see what I'm saying? Like, I used to do construction, and I worked alongside Esau, and Esau hates the sun, obviously, right? Because he lacks melanin. You see, so he burns, he gets hot really quickly, man. So what a beautiful way to go out for Esau in this time, right? And also in the next time, right? And as we read in Obadiah, like, these people hate fire, man. Hate the heat. Perfect. Because it's gonna be gruesome for you, Esau. Right? Verse 22. "As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. And ye shall know that I, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, have poured out my fury upon you." Man, that's a scary thing, man. To get hit with one of those, ICBM missiles, man. I mean, I think Russia got like 6,000, the U.S. got like 5,000, and that's just two nations, right? Because the other nations got like, a few hundred here, 150 here, 150,000 here. No, Salakia, not 150,000, Salakia. Like 150, 300. You see what I'm saying? If everybody was to launch their joint, in one day, I mean, the scriptures talk about how the earth will shake to and fro. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. This is Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24 and 20. "And the earth shall reel." Right? Reel is to shake, to move. Right? When you go fishing, you got the stick. Then you got what's called the reel, which spins, it moves, it brings your line back. It's called the reel. See, the earth shall reel to, right, going towards and then fro, back and forth, like a drunkard, right, staggering. It says, and it shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. See, once those missiles hit, man, there's no coming back from that Babylon, because Babylon's gonna get hit. It's gonna get hit, man, because you know what? The nations are tired. The nations are tired of Babylon, man, and you can see, that the nations that are in confederate with Esau, man, it's turning against them. For example, Saudi Arabia, one of the countries that we got oil from for many years, and they got rich. Now they're siding with Russia. You see, and Esau over here in Babylon knows that it's over. It's over, man. It's a wrap, man. And he knows, but he got but a short time, man. That's why Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua is going to put the hooks on Putin or whoever's running the show at that time, in Gog and Magog. You see, and just take this place out, man. It's over for you. And you better pray that, you're not stuck. You're not stuck, man. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai will smite all people that have fought against Jerusalem. Right? And that would be everybody. Right? Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Right? The 12 tribes of Israel, man, going from the northern kingdom, southern kingdom, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as we know on this side of the hemisphere. Right? All of y'all got a hand on the oppression of Israel. Right? It says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. See, as we watched in the video, man, that first blast is going to not only blind you, right, but it's going to incinerate you instantly, combusted, right? Anybody within the blast radius will be turned to nothing, and not even dust. And I watched on how in places like Hiroshima, there was called shadows, right? They call them shadow images, where all you saw was a black print of a person. You know how, like, you trace somebody when they die, you would chalk, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this person died, like a crime scene. But like in that area, people were disintegrated, and all you saw was a black stain of their silhouette. A perfect silhouette, by the way. It's like a shadow puppet almost. And it looks like it's perfect. It's like on the ground, man. Like, look into it. It's just wild. It says here, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall be consumed away in their holes. See how they spoke? Just by looking at the blast alone, it's going to blind you, right? But what comes next is that intense heat, man, that will just incinerate your clothing, right? Every piece of wood. You got so many combustibles, Salakia, around you, right? I work with fire and these things, and there's a thing called hot works where you have to get a license to know when to deal with fire and when to work around fire and to be knowledgeable of combustibles around you, man. But everything that we see around us, man, is combustible, right? Even cars, like the metals in the cars cannot withstand heat to a certain degree. Like paint on the cars, as soon as that blast hit, you know what I'm saying, and that light hits that car, the paint is going to disintegrate immediately. Like, this is an intense heat, right? And even if let's just say hypothetically, you're on the earth, the bombs go off, and you survive somewhere, right? And you survive radiation, you survive a bunch of stuff, right? And then you got angel fire. That's a whole different subject. There's no running from the hands of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, right? It says their flesh, back to Zechariah 14:12, and their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouths. Man, If that don't scare you, then you see it was written beforehand. You see, and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has put the prophets before us to write these things so we could, be forewarned, man, and repent, right? To not fall in the hands of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because it's not gonna be sweet, man. Man, I pray, man. I pray Yahweh Hashem Yahushai may have mercy on me, and that I don't have to see these things, man. But we are all worthy of death, man. And we must pray daily and watch. We get a couple more precepts. Not gonna make this too long. But this is Isaiah chapter 34, verse 4. And it says, "And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll." You see, this is why we believe in the prophecies of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because how accurate is this precept, right? They didn't have this type of technology then, right? How can somebody write something so perfect, right, without being led by the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai? Right? When you look at a scroll, when you look at a ICBM missile, or any bomb of that nature with magnitude, you see that when it blast hits, it rolls up, boom, and then you got the top mushroom, what they call a mushroom cloud. You see, in the bottom of the mushroom cloud, which is the base, and it looks like a scroll. Can't make this stuff up, man. This is how it's easy to prove the work of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It's easy to prove that the words are true from so many prophecies, man. This being one of them, to the T, right? This is back to Isaiah 34:4. "And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree." Verse 5, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, and behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judge." And this sword, man, is the ICBM missiles, right? Because a sword is synonymous with a weapon, and this weapon was not Esau's, but was created aforetime to be used by Esau, right? We can't give Esau credit for building this, man. This is all of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It was forewritten. This is Revelations chapter 6:14. "And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place." And with that, I'm going to say, Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS.